Here we go, it's The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 review. This episode shows me that Disney are not listening to the criticism at all. This is one of the stupidest episodes yet, and there will be spoilers. Because this episode starts out with so much stupid in so little time that I could barely keep up. They do a flashback to the Mandalorian now being persona non grata because of that one time he took his helmet off, which makes no sense. Why is this rule even a thing? If they're supposed to never take their helmets off, why don't they just make the armour in a way that it can't be taken off? Fuse the helmet to the chest piece, or why make armour at all when the joints are so weak? Why not have a Beskar ship or a tank instead? As penance for him taking his helmet off that one time, he now has to go back to Mandalore and bathe in underground waters that aren't even there anymore. And why cling to these traditions when it's now physically impossible to do them any longer? It's no surprise that the Mandalorians have mostly died out. They're cretins. The episode opens up and the Mandalorian armourer is making a helmet on another planet. And why do they even work like this? The galaxy is very high tech, so why do the Mandalorians still essentially have someone who works like a medieval blacksmith, hitting sheet metal with a hammer? A young man waits on a shore in some water for his helmet to be completed, which seems to be a ritual. The helmet is put on him, and why do they even care about the helmet so much? The rest of his body is completely open to be shot. The young man then makes some vows, and a massive alligator turtle thing comes out of the water and starts eating the Mandalorians. And what do you mean there's a giant alligator turtle in the water? Did none of them know it was there? Did they know and go back anyway? Why would they keep on going back there? Loads of them get killed by the giant alligator. Are they trying to die? Let's see if you can guess what I found wrong with this upcoming scene. The Mandalorians are all stood in a semicircle on the beach, in their armour, with jetpacks on, for a minute or two, firing at the alligator turtle while it eats them. Did you guess? Yes, that's how long it takes them to remember that they have jetpacks on and can fly. Despite being able to fly, most of them stay on the ground in easy eating range. This alligator is the size of a small skyscraper, so loads of them stand on the beach and fire tethers into it? What about this creature made you think you were going to overpower it? Then some fly up and put bombs on its heavily armoured shell, and at no point do they consider just flying away out of range. Luckily for them, the Mandalorian then turns up in a ship and kills the alligator turtle with a missile. And these Mandalorians are supposed to be legendary warriors. They persevere with traditions that make no sense and didn't stop them from nearly all being wiped out by the Empire anyway. And surely in their position you'd think, maybe it's time for some new traditions. And if this episode could have started any worse, I'm not exactly sure how. Mando decides that he has to go to Mandalore to redeem himself for taking his helmet off that one time, in order to try and find the underground lake to bathe in. So he goes back to Navarro for some reason. Mandalore is supposed to be radioactive, but he's not going to go and check, he's just going to assume it is. So he wants a droid first in order to send that down to radioactive Mandalore before he goes down himself. And for some reason, it also has to be IG-88, the droid that nearly killed him in Season 1 and was destroyed in Season 2. And this is at least better than the first scene. Navarro has changed and it's now quite bright and futuristic. There are aliens, and that's welcome in Star Wars, actually having aliens with speaking roles. It also has a tree, for some reason filled with salacious crumbs, so it's going very heavy on the member berries. But at least it has Carl Weathers, and I like Carl Weathers a lot. He was Dylan in Predator. And why am I watching this when I could be watching Predator? I could be watching Jesse Ventura say, This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me. Do you remember that? When Hollywood movies weren't massively lame, and Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed in Rocky. He was Action Jackson, and it's winning me over a little. They hand wave away why Cara Dune isn't there anymore. She was promoted after bringing in Moff Gideon, so she's not got to be in the series anymore. And it's something at least to explain why Gina Carano is no longer in the series. Carl Weathers offers Mando a nice place on the planet where he can live and earn money, and why doesn't he take it? The Mandalorians and the Watchers are morons anyway, but for some reason he's dead set, and their meeting is then interrupted by pirates, who start a fight, and Mando and Carl shoot all but one of the pirates, but let one go so he can come back later for revenge. Carl Weathers also offers Mando a position as the new lawman, now Cara Dune has gone, but Mando is still dead set. Mando then takes the remains of IG-88, the droid who tried to kill him in Season 1, because he wants that droid in particular to go to Mandalore with him, so he takes the parts and tries to repair it, because now Mando is able to repair an exploded droid somehow, for reasons. He restores power, and the droid immediately tries to kill Grogu, and they struggle to stop it despite it having one arm and no legs, and it won't stop until they crush its head. If Mandalore is irradiated anyway, why do they even need a dangerous combat droid? It's probably going to be deserted, but Mando still wants IG-88 for unspecified reasons. He even says he's not sure he could take on IG-88 if it had all its limbs intact, but he's still going to take it. They take IG-88 to the Babu Fricks for repair, but Mando needs to find a specific rare part in order to fix it. You would have maybe thought that IG-88 trying to kill Grogu was a pretty clear indication that all of this was a terrible idea, but no. As Mando leaves the planet, who would have thought that pirate earlier whose friends he shot, well, he only came back for revenge. Imagine my shock. And it's lucky for Mando that he has, between seasons, somehow become an expert dogfighter, and in a 1 versus 6 battle against pirate fighters, he destroys 5 of them before then escaping from the pirate mothership. So in between seasons, Mando seems to have become a top-notch fighter pilot and also droid mechanic, and are we sure it's not Rey inside that suit? He then goes to the Mandalorian system, and just so happens to bump into Bo-Katan in an entire star system. It turns out her efforts to restore Mandalore have failed. The rest of the Mandalorians deserted her when she didn't manage to get the Darksaber, and despite her warnings, Mando is going to go to Mandalore anyway to try and bathe in the irradiated underground lake that everyone has consistently been telling him isn't even there anymore. But he has to do it in order to redeem himself. So Mando Season 3 Episode 1. How was it? It was stupid. It was very, very stupid and a bit formulaic. It had many of the things that Star Wars is known for, fights with laser blasters, a space battle, and it comes across to me like they just threw things into the show that they thought would make the audience happy, with little thought as to logic, continuity, common sense, or a greater story. And is that a good sign? Maybe. At least someone at Lucasfilm is trying to give the audience something that they think they may want to watch. It's a start, I suppose. So, how would I fix this? For me, the show needs a quality bad guy or two, and Darth Vader from last season kind of didn't cut it. This is step 1. It needs a quality antagonist, or preferably several. Mando is kind of an anti-hero, so it could be a real bad guy. It could, for instance, be a chaotic evil bounty hunter sent to catch him. It could be another Mandalorian who won't stop attacking him because they want the Darksaber. It could be someone that wants to finish him because of the oath that he broke. It could be a lawful evil Empire agent. Or it could be a lawful good agent sent by the Republic. It could be a Jedi that he has to run from and use guile. And the series needs a big bad, some kind of Palpatine-like figure or a Blofeld. There's so much potential in what they could write with the resources that they have at their disposal, but the writers don't seem to know what they want the story to even be. Is Mandalorian not taking bounties anymore? What are his long-term goals? What does he want? What are his motivations? To protect Grogu, obviously. To bathe in some irradiated water and redeem himself. Then what? What does he want? There are endless possibilities. And instead, they write a tree filled with salacious crumbs.
Fool me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.